Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and today, man, let me tell you something. Unfortunately, Drew could not be here today because of his family sometimes happens, and he had family responsibilities that he needed to handle. He will be back next week, but answering the call of Boomstick is Clowns, the Italian clowns from Crossfire and Four Guys with Quarters. Clowns, first of all, thank you so much for being here. I do greatly appreciate it. This was the last minute. You jumped on, you saved the show. Welcome, dude.
Thanks, Boom. Appreciate it, man. So glad to be here.
Well, again, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. And next up, we have a first-time podcaster that has never, as far as I know, never been on anyone's show, but did in fact answer the call. He is currently working, but he wanted to kind of help out, and I'm letting him make his first-time guest appearance on the show. And that, of course, you've seen him in the chat so many times. Dreadpool, welcome to the show, dude. I think he's on mute. I don't know if he can hear us.
Yes, thank you for the invite. I just wanted to help out. And let's have a good show.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here, dude. This is the first time he's on any of my shows. I'm not sure if he's been on any podcasts before, but he certainly is in everyone's chat. So let's give him a big, warm welcome. And let's get to our first topic, because this is only going to be a 60-minute show due to everyone else's time constraints and kind of trying to put this show together at the last minute. So let's have a great 60 minutes. First of all, the first topic is going to be a big one, I think, and it's the Inside Xbox that just happened. That was on Tuesday, and to be completely honest, there's been a lot of talk. As a matter of fact, Kotaku, who is notoriously said horrible things about Xbox and its fans, sent out a tweet, and I actually did an article regarding the fact that they're saying the Inside Xbox needs to stop happening. Clowns, I have to go to you immediately on this. For me personally, Les, I have been a person, because I have a voice in the community. I have explained a small bit of distaste with some of their Inside Xbox shows. But I'm going to be honest with you. I have to say that I really, truly enjoyed this one. It ended a little short of 2 hours, I think at the 1:48 mark. And there really wasn't any bad things to talk about. I mean, besides the guy eating blue brains that was made of Jello, that's probably about the only thing that I thought was a little gross. But to be honest, I thought the Terry Crews interview was really, really candid. I mean, he seems like a real, genuine human being that just loves gaming, loves being alive. I thought that the new addition to to the show, I think her name was Laura. She had the shaved head on the side on her head. I really thought that she brought something new and fresh to the show. I love the Crackdown footage. I love the Mortal Kombat footage. I thought the Metro footage was really good. The interview with Matt Booty, he didn't say a lot, but he said enough to get me excited. I think E3 obviously is going to be big. We're going to get to see a lot of games that are currently in development. But Clowns, what was your take on the whole Inside Xbox for February?
Well, I want to say one thing. I've talked to a lot of people in the community, and after this Inside Xbox, everybody was hyped up. Even if you're not a fan of Crackdown, even if you weren't a fan of some of the Xbox Game Pass stuff, I saw people get hyped up because Xbox is actually going out there, promoting their stuff, being proud and confident. And I think that's what matters the most to the fans. And, Terry Crews is a real cool guy, real genuine dude, not afraid to speak his mind. And I've seen him talk back and forth with Xbox PR people, marketing people. And he just seems like a fun-loving dude who's just happy to be in this game. And that's great for his fans as well. Xbox fans, I think it's going to show in the game. It's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good stuff's coming out from Xbox right now.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you. There are a lot of shows that are Xbox centric shows, and there's also a lot of podcasters out there that have been down that still feel like the Xbox the Inside Xbox it may not be the greatest thing. You know, what you have to look at is that this is the only show of its type. You know, Sony is not doing Inside PlayStation. Nintendo, yes, they do have directs, but they're very, very you know, they're here and there. You know, you don't have a schedule. They don't do it monthly. They do it probably quarterly, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, there's a lot to be excited about with Xbox. You know, we're going to break it down into, you know, Game Pass, what's going in this month, some really big additions to that. But Dreadpool, I kind of want to get your opinion on this. So, you know, you seem like you're an Xbox dude. And you know, you're very vocal in the community. You're also very vocal in the chat. And today you know, as a special guest, we got you on the show. So I kind of want to get your take on it. Did you watch Inside Xbox, and what did you walk away with?
I'm a half fraud. I only watched the first half.
Okay, no, that's okay. Listen, so what was your take on the first half of the show?
Well, everything was great. The brain eating, you know, that was kind of funny. You know, a little inside joke, I'm sure, for them.
Yes.
Rick Cruz's part was awesome. I love that thing. That guy, he's got the energy and the talent to back it up.
He does.
People. He's got the life. And if I was in his spot, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be so happy. But the previous ones we've had have been lackluster.
Yes, that is for sure. Yes.
You have to tell everybody, don't get your hopes up. We don't know what we're going to see. And yet, right before they even have the Xbox on, they're tweeting, hey, check out what we got. This is the new thing we got. This time I didn't see any of that. This time they left it for the show. And they actually had a good half. And from what I hear from the second half, it was still good. You know, Sea of Thieves was a little wishy-washy for some people. Some people were excited about it because it's the first time that they're actually having a major update.
Yes.
That they've not just skirted under the bus and being like, oh, yeah, we're having an update, by the way. So, that you know, overall, I think it was a good one, even though I've only seen half.
Well, look, let me just say this, okay? You know, I'm not going to say that I don't wish that we don't get, you know, surprise announcements. But I'm not going to sit here as an Xbox fan and critique every little thing that may not be for me. And the one thing I have to say about, you know, Tuesday's show is that it didn't drag at all. You know, I listened to Xbox Nation with, of course, everyone that I'm huge fans of, you know, Crap Gamer, Mooch, Predator, you know, Xbot, you know, the Don, of course, you know, you know, our inside hook, because he's a developer, and they had a lot of great things to say. And you know, the one thing that was the consensus is that, you know, some people, you know, really enjoyed it, you know, but some people were like, you know, it's okay, but at least it was better than, you know, previous Xbox, Inside Xboxes. And, you know, I have to be honest. You know, I watched it once, and I watched it late. Like, I was up writing past midnight, which is usually what I do for a lot of these shows, if you don't know. I do my best writing after midnight, and I'm usually up to at least 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, making sure that these shows have the best content possible. And I had gotten done writing a little early, and I said, you know what, let me sit and watch this. And it was so, I felt so engaged in what they were showing that it wound up going past 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, you know what, I want to finish this show. Like, I actually wanted to go the 1 hour and 48 minutes. And I did. And when it ended, I actually walked away with like a big smile on my face. I thought it was one of the better shows. You know, one of my major concerns was, how was Crackdown 3 going to be represented? Because, you know, again, I would be a fraud if I didn't come out and say that one of the biggest issues I've had with the Xbox, with Redmond, with their advertising department, is that it's been very ho-hum this generation. So I had concerns because we hadn't seen any big time marketing for, you know, Crackdown 3. I'm super stoked for it. I cannot wait to get this. I'm actually very disappointed that we didn't get a collector's edition, because, you know, Boom loves those. And I'm also very saddened that we didn't get at least a controller. You know, like Sea of Thieves, for instance. I thought that the title is worthy of a special edition controller, even if it's not an Elite. That's okay. Just give me a regular controller with Crackdown on it, and I'll buy it. You know, but Clowns, you know, I kind of want to just point out, because you are a pirate legend, and Sea of Thieves is your thing, and we have a topic we're going to go into right after Inside Xbox. That's, you know, we're going to be talking about some Sea of Thieves. But what was your takeaway with what they showed with Sea of Thieves?
You know, Boom, to be honest, I feel like Deadpool here, I missed some of the Sea of Thieves stuff. I did see, though, that your friends can play free for a week.
Yes, for 7 days.
For 7 days. So I think that's really cool to get new people into the game. I mean, that's a great thing. Like for my daughter to try the game out again if she gave up on it. You know, yeah, Xbox is just trying harder and harder to meet the fans' demands, especially on Sea of Thieves. They're implementing so many great changes to this game. So much good stuff's coming, man.
Yeah, you know what? You know, Dreadpool. I'm just going to grab. I'm going to kind of just grab your ear one more time. You know, with Inside Xbox, as a fan of the brand, of someone who watches the shows, you know, if you had to give an overall rating or review of this particular show, and you said you only saw half of it, and you've heard that the other half. Listen, I got to be honest with you. There were no lulls. It kind of really just flowed. Like, some people did not like the Halo event, the Fan Fest that's coming to the 5 cities. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that was absolutely amazing. And I'm saddened that that's not coming to New York. Because if it was, you can rest assured that I would be doing live from the carpet, doing, you know, stuff for the show if I could get there. What would you rate it from what you've seen?
Well, from what I've seen, I would say about a 9.5.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't. It flowed. It had a good flow. It kept you wanting more. But it didn't leave you hanging. You know, there was so much stuff that it just had a good flow. The vibe was there. It wasn't like, what are you guys doing? Why are we watching this? You know, it kept you entertained.
Yeah, I have to agree. And Clowns, let's close out this particular topic with your opinion on what you were able to see with you know, February's Inside Xbox. What would you give if you had to do a review on it? What would you say? What would be your score?
Well, I would say on this one, because of the hype, the fan response, I'd probably give them a 7 out of 10. To be honest with you, Boom.
Okay, and listen, that's absolutely that you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, that's what we ask for. And you know, what would you like to see them do better? Like, if you're saying it's a 7 out of 10, what would you like for them to do differently to kind of bump up that number?
I would like to see them actually announce, and I know a lot of people are against this right now, and I used to be, Boom, but I'd like to see them announce you don't need Xbox Live Gold to play free-to-play games.
Okay, that's a big one. That's a really big announcement. I mean, I would like to say that I don't think we'd ever see that on that show. That would be like on an E3 stage, because I think they eventually have to do that. But take it away. Keep going.
And I'd also like to see, for those games that they do Xbox Play Anywhere, like Sea of Thieves on PC, where you don't have to pay for Xbox Live, I think it would benefit Xbox to go ahead and make that free to play as well, once you buy the title, of course, but free to connect online to their servers on the Xbox console. I think it'd be a huge improvement for their services.
Well, it would be something. It would be certainly a feather in the cap. That's something that you know that they could, you know, tout. I mean, Sony does currently do that with all free to play games. You don't have to be a PlayStation Plus member. And I think that, you know, eventually Microsoft is going to have to answer the questions of the people. But again, I have to say that even though I agree with you, Clowns, I kind of don't put Xbox Live, their security in the same light as Sony. Sony's, we know what happened with with the PlayStation 3. They're constantly being hacked. They're constantly going down. I do not trust Sony. So, yeah, sure, free-to-play games are free on their system, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't mind the paywall for Xbox Live because my credit card wasn't stolen on Live. It was stolen and used on Sony's network. Unfortunately, I was a victim of that. And they didn't get a lot because it was a small credit card, but the fact that it happened was enough to, sicken me as a paying customer. But we won't go into that. But real quick, I have to say a big thank you to Rumple Foreskin for the incredible $5 super chat. And he says, feels like I spent more on super chat than Microsoft spends on Crackdown marketing. Listen, you're not wrong. I know that it's going into Game Pass. I know that it's probably going to be sitting somewhere around a 74-ish on Metacritic. We've already seen what IGN and GameSpot did to it, and that's one of the topics you're gonna see a little bit of a salty boom today. But you know what? I want to move into the next topic. And Clowns, I'm really glad you're here because, everyone knows, and I've said it earlier, that you're a pirate legend. We know how you feel about Sea of Thieves. We know how much time you've actually put into the game. And one of the additions that they just added, or it will be coming, I'm not sure if it's in the update as of yet, is being able to disable crossplay with mouse and keyboard. I think would also, does that also go for you playing with PC players? Can you say, no, I don't want to play with PC players. I just want to play with people on Xbox. Can you answer that question?
Are you saying as far as like if you're a PC player and you only want to play with Xbox players?
Yeah, well, no. What I'm saying is that for me, as again, I'm not being a fraud here. I don't play Sea of Thieves. It's just not my bag. I think the game is gorgeous. I'm so happy for Rare and everyone that's enjoying it. I'm more of a single player guy. I don't like the PvP where everything is PvP. I wish they would sometime down the line offer a single player campaign, and maybe I would come back to it. But my question to you is that, do you feel a toggle switch for the Xbox players? Meaning that if I don't want to play with PC players, should there be a switch there to shut it off where I only play with Xbox players?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way I look at it, Boom, is that if you're playing on the console, you're paying to play on that console.
That is correct. That's a great point.
And you should have the right to choose if you want to play with other ecosystems or not. So playing only with other console people is, in my opinion, you're right. And the PC players lately have been using programmable keyboards like double shots.
Yes.
They say, oh, it's not cheating. I'm just using my keyboard. No, you're programming it to be faster than a human response. So in my opinion, it's still an unfair advantage. And Xbox and Rare are doing the right thing by allowing users to have that switch to disable crossplay no matter what PC players say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, I know that we've seen in the community, oh, yeah, well, guess what? Sea of Thieves, it's, the numbers are going to go down. Let me tell you something. The people that play on PC are going to be killing the hell out of each other, and that's going to be perfectly fine. And there are going to be several people, like, for instance, there have been several people in our circle that we run in, Clowns, that say that they're just as good against mouse and keyboard as a controller, and they have no problem going up against people. Zalker87, more specifically, is such a master at that game that he has no problem slicing down people with keyboards and mouse. And you know what? I mean, that's great for him because he has those types of skills. I just think I'm right there with you. I think the ability to shut it off again, you said it, as a paying customer, you should have the right to say who you play with. And I think that is a big deal. Dreadpool, I want to get your opinion on this. I don't know if you play Sea of Thieves because, this is obviously the first time we're talking in real life. And again, I cannot thank you enough for answering the call and being here today. Do you think that it's important that Rare answered the call, if you will, of gamers that play the Sea of Thieves about saying who they want to play with?
Oh, yes, definitely important. I mean, you get people like me. I don't get a chance to play very often. I used to play a lot more. I'm into co-op. I'm into single player. I'm into, you know, competitive. I'm into everything, but more, the thing that I'm most into is playing with my friends. So if we're going to play matches together, I want to be able to get together and play matches. But when you have the PC going in there and you're all dying and you're waiting to hurry up and respawn so you can die again, and you're all taking turns one by one, it's an unfair advantage. You know, that the PC hacking, there's many ways that they hack. We know it. It's been history. They've done it since the beginning of time. To limit them, if we want to just play console to console, I think it'd be beneficial. And, you know, if you're like Zalker and you're that good and you're that competent, why not? You should be able to play against PC if you want. Sometimes you want to play with PC, so you have to have that open.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, I agree with you. I think that again, you know, one is a paid service. The console, we pay for that. $60 a year, unless you get it on sale. And we know what we get with it. We get security. We get the games with gold. A lot of stuff behind the scenes, being able to play with your friends. But PC folks, they don't have to pay for Xbox Live, which is still, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me. But I think it's a big deal. I'm excited to see where they take Sea of Thieves with all of these updates. The game is expanding like, you know, obviously we know that it's been, it's really kind of hit the top of the charts in regards to sometime, you know, some big time streamers streaming. There's been some controversy. Everyone's thinking that Microsoft is paying them, you know, to play. But I don't necessarily know if that's true. I think they have to, according to Twitch, disclose it if they are being paid. Clowns, can you correct me if I'm wrong on that?
They are supposed to disclose the Boom if they are being paid. But I think the gray area for a lot of people inside the industry and streaming services, and a lot of people on the FTC side, their concern is, well, did a game company give you a key for free? And the thing is that even if you're not paid dollars or money, if you're given a game key for free and you get to keep that game, you are still supposed to disclose it as if you are sponsored.
Oh, okay. See, I did not know that. That is, that's important. Well, listen, you know, again, you know, Microsoft is on a high right now. I hope that they don't have any trouble coming down the pipeline because, like I said, you know, bad press is always bad press. Good press, especially when it comes to Microsoft, is not as good as we'd like it sometimes, especially in the mainstream media. But you know what, guys, I want to move on to the next topic, and I think it's a big one. The capability that we had, this is an article that I pulled from gamingbolt.com. And the title is basically it's Phil Spencer saying the capability that we have as a first party organization will continue to get bigger. And this is coming directly from Phil Spencer. Now, to be honest with you, this story, when I was reading it, excited me in such a way that I read it twice. Because, you know, I'm a big fan of Phil Spencer. You know, I think everyone knows me as the internet nice guy, officer friendly, as Mooch likes to call me. And I really am like that in real life. You know, on the mic, off the mic, I want to help everybody, and that's why I think I gravitate towards a guy like Phil Spencer. He is an absolute proper gentleman. He is a friend to this industry. I love the way he speaks about gaming. I love when he tells the stories about when he used to game with his daughter, and how that was important to him. I think he's just a real, genuine human being. But, you know, as it's been discussed on this show many times, Microsoft has been working aggressively to fix what has been one of the biggest issues in the gaming space for probably the entire generation, and that's their lack of first-party exclusives in regards of output. And in an area where Nintendo traditionally is exceptionally strong, and Sony has really gone out of their way to put out some real incredible first-party games, Microsoft in this department for this generation has been solely lacking, to say the least. But with the acquisition of the 5 studios announced at E3 2018, and the 2 more in Obsidian and in Exile, as well as the first of this generation's quadruple in the initiative, I just think they have so much to prove. But I kind of just want to read an excerpt from what Phil Spencer had to say, and then I'm going to get you guys' opinion on it. And this is Phil Spencer's exact quote on the matter. The capability that we have now as a first-party organization, I do think will continue to get bigger. But what we have right now is so different than the position we've been in the last 5 years, which is awesome. I've seen what Ninja Theory is working on next, and what their pipeline looks like. I saw what Playground Games is working on next, and I saw what Rare is working on next, and their continued growth and success with Sea of Thieves. So not only is Rare currently working on Sea of Thieves and helping that incredible title grow for everyone that plays it, but they're working on something else. Now, look, clowns, you know me, I'm an Xbox guy, but I also proudly admit that I love my PlayStation for its first-party games. I love my Nintendo Switch for its first-party games. It's what keeps me coming back to both of those consoles. I want to say the same thing about Microsoft, and I know we're going to get it. What are your takes on, what are your takes and opinions on this interview with Phil Spencer? And as a fan of the brand, how confident that are you as a fan going into the next generation?
Well, I'm pretty excited going to the next generation. I think Microsoft is thinking future forward. They're thinking about, all these studios they acquired, all the talent they hired to make something epic and great. It is going to take some time. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but I think they're getting there. I think they got the plan in place. I think it's going to happen in the next few years. We're going to see something drop. I know that you mentioned about Rare and working on something else, and I'm not sure if you knew this, Boom, but I follow a person on Twitter called Indie Gamer Chick, and she does a lot for the indie gaming scene. And she actually tweeted something that she still can't fully disclose, but something to the fact that Microsoft, Rare, and Nintendo have been working on something together.
I knew it. I've heard this, clowns. This is great information.
And it's
Keep going.
It's to bring back something nostalgia.
Oh,
so something probably, I imagine, in my opinion, something maybe from the N64 files. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, let me just say this right now. You're talking and I'm getting goosebumps because not only am I a huge fan of Rare, not only am I a huge fan of Microsoft, but I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. Now, I immediately start to think, what am I starting to think, folks? In the chat, you know me, you've been listening to me. I'm thinking Banjo-Kazooie. Now,
bam.
Look, yeah, yep. Here's the thing, okay? Not only do I think it's going to be a crime against humanity if Banjo-Kazooie does not end up going into Smash Brothers. I think that's going to be such a missed opportunity. But I'm going to go crazy here and say this. I think that not only should Banjo-Kazooie come back to the Xbox in a big way as obviously a first-party game. It's going to be an exclusive. You know what I'd love to see? And this might be taboo. I may get some boos. I may even lose some subs over this. I would love Microsoft to say, hey, take the IP and make your own Banjo-Kazooie on your system. And I think that is something that has never been done before. It's something that would be really a fantastic talking point for lots of shows like this. And I think that the working relationship that Nintendo has with Microsoft is going to blossom into something that big. Dreadpool, I kind of want to go to you on this, dude. Phil Spencer had a lot to say in a small paragraph. One of the things I took away from it, and of course, because I'm such a fan, I could be overreaching, if you will, but when he said that the growth of the first party is going to continue, that tells me as a fan that they're not done buying first party games. What were your takeaways on this interview?
Well, this isn't the Xbox that we've ever known. Ever since The Rock coming out and showing Bill Gates the new Xbox, the excitement there with everything that they were doing is nothing. When they came out with a 360, that's nothing. This is something new. They are going above and beyond to do something different. and more for us. They've realized that they've screwed up, and they realize that the money is there. So why not put more into it, get the money to the developers, and get us the games. And with them building these studios, I can't imagine what game is going to be a quadruple A game. It's just mind blowing. And then to have all these good developers, great developers, joining the team and intersecting with each other and sharing their codes and their secrets to help develop better games for everybody. We're in a new stage. This isn't going to be, oh, Xbox this, Xbox that. No, it's going to be the Xbox to have all Xboxes. The games are coming. We just know they're going to take some time, but they're putting the effort in there, and you see it. And you can just see the tidal wave coming at us.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's really great points. You know, we are witnessing a different type of Xbox. We are witnessing a different type of Microsoft. I think that it's fair to say they understand what their shortcomings were in this generation, and they're going to address them all. And I'm excited. I honestly could not be any more excited as an Xbox fan, especially in the first party you know, sector, if you will. I'm really, really looking forward to launch day of the Xbox Anaconda. I still think we're going to get Halo. I still think we're going to get possibly Perfect Dark. I think we're going to get a proper Killer Instinct 2. I think we're also going to get the next Forza Motorsport 8, which probably will be a launch title, and whatever else they're going to add to that. But Clowns, let me ask you something. You know, this insider that you touted. First of all, you're gonna have to, when you DM me later on, send me a link to this to this girl, because I'm gonna want to start following her. I enjoy following people who have this inside information, because it obviously makes making these shows fun, and certainly a heck of a lot easier, even if they're just like you know, a wink or you know, like an elbow rub, you know, like Clobriel, for instance. He does a lot of that, you know, and I do run with his stuff because he's a trusted source, and that goes for Brad Sams, who has said publicly that when he hits 10,000 subs on YouTube, he will guest on the Xbox Factor podcast. So listen, if you're not subbed to Brad Sams, do me a favor and get over there, sub his stuff. He actually is really, really good, puts out a lot of content, and guess what? He said he would be a guest, and that would be awesome. Now, real quick, before I move on to the next topic, Rumple Foreskin, once again, with the incredible $5 super chat. He says, I want either Diddy Kong Racing or Blast Corps sequel. I would take either of those, because Blast Corps was hard as hell, but I really enjoyed it. And really, Diddy Kong Racing was fantastic. Really, I mean, it was right up there with the Mario Karts for sure. You know, Clowns, I like to be, you know me for a very long time. I like to be a very positive kind of a dude. I do not like console war shit, and I certainly I don't like going after the mainstream media, because we know how rubbish they are. There's no doubt about it. But you know, last week we saw Dealer Gaming, who's a friend of this channel, do a fantastic video about what GameSpot and both IGN had to say about Crackdown. And I'm going to be honest with you. I put out a tweet, and I know I did not know that there was an IGN police force, but apparently there is. And they came after Boom in a big way. I got a lot of hate, which I'm not normally used to, because I don't like to put it out there. I like being positive. But when I see something, I have to call it. And you know what IGN did and what GameSpot did, I call bullshit. And you know, and I put out a tweet. I called IGN out directly. I didn't say, you know, go after anyone in particular. I went after the organization, saying that I thought what they did was really shitty. And I just thought that the footage that both of them showed didn't seem like they were both of them seemed like they didn't want to be there. Both of them seemed like it was a bother, and it certainly seemed to me, and again, this is not biased eyes talking, this is just what I saw as a fan, that the game play that they were showing was not putting the game in the more positive light. Now, I happened to come across two gentlemen who had different sites from the UK, and it seemed as if the footage that they were using was so much better and leaps and bounds better than what IGN and GameSpot were doing. I have to call integrity into question here. Now, the thing is this, like I said, I don't like being negative, but I'm not a guy that runs out Clowns and Dreadpool that starts screaming for media bias. I don't think that IGN, the overlords at IGN and GameSpot are going like this with their fists and saying yes, another chance to screw Xbox. But when you see smaller YouTubes, and when I mean smaller, and they're much bigger than my small 2,100 subs, they're talking just under 1 million for one and over 500,000 for the other. So they're reputable. Their footage, which I will add in the show notes once the show is done, so you guys can take a look for yourself, seemed so much better. Clowns, I want to get your opinion on this because, I think that both GameSpot and IGN are extremely unprofessional. They've gone after Xbox numerous times. To me, it seemed like Crackdown 3 didn't even have a chance. And I've seen so much gameplay of it. Again, if you're not a fan, I hear you. I absolutely understand. But you can't shit on the game because it's just not for you. That would be the same thing of me saying, well, you know what, Clowns? I understand you like Sea of Thieves, but it sucks. I don't like it because it's not my bag, so it sucks. Every time I talk about a game that may not be for me, I will say, you know what? It's not for me, but I'm really happy. I think it looks beautiful. I think the gameplay is strong. The community is strong. I'll find a way to put it in the proper light because that's the kind of a professional I am. What are your takeaways on the big controversy with what GameSpot and IGN did last week on Crackdown 3?
I think it's popular right now for clickbait to negatively slam on Crackdown because it's a game coming out. It's a Microsoft game and Microsoft's trying to hype it up. So what better way to get clicks than make fun of it, put it down, say anything bad about it, And I agree with you, Boom. There is a game out there for everybody. Even if it's not your type of game, doesn't mean that the game actually sucks. You know what I mean? Like Crackdown might not be for me, but it doesn't mean the game is bad. Doesn't mean it sucks. There's going to be a group out there that loves that style of gameplay, and kudos to Microsoft for making this game happen even after all the delays.
Yeah, obviously they could have just took their ball and walked home. There's no doubt about it. Because Phil Spencer's such a big fan, he put this back in the oven and said, we have to fix what doesn't seem right. He played it, he didn't like it, and I think that in itself is honorable. But Dreadpool, listen, before anyone starts accusing us of being conspiracy nuts, if you will, who are claiming media bias because it's Microsoft, I kind of want to explain this. That this not only happened in the past few years, but has happened with Crackdown in previews. It's also widely known that both GameSpot and IGN have been losing talent by the boatloads, and this is more of an IGN thing as of late than GameSpot. The mass exodus at IGN started a few years ago with Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty when they shocked the world and they left. And since then, all of their major talent, the people that gamers tune in to listen to, have gone off to do their own thing. And to me, that kind of says something. So in your opinion, Dreadpool, what were your takeaways from? Because listen, I don't care if you lived under a rock. Everyone heard what was going on with these sites in Crackdown 3. What was your take on the whole situation?
Well, if you're into horror movies and you do reviews on horror movies, do you watch a chick flick? Now, if you're into action movies,
right?
If you're into action movies and you want to see The Rock, drive a car through a building, are you, I don't know, watching a drama? No. These people, if they want to really review the game, they should get the proper people to review these games. If they're not into it, then they should back out and say, look, this is not my type of game. I'm going to take a knee for this one. Maybe there's somebody else for it. Dustin Legary has reviewed the game before, when it was in preview, before anybody else could, and he said, it's a good game. Then why are you reviewing it now and could care less? It's beyond my time. That's what it seemed like. And same thing with Ryan. They both didn't seem like they even wanted to be there. Is it that they've played the game too many times already and it's like, okay, so it's the same thing? Or is it, what is the real question? Why do we have to have this? And it's not the media bias per se. It's lackluster. I don't want to do my job, is what it feels like. This is beyond me. Why should I bother with this game? They're talking about all the other games. Great. This game's been in development a lot longer.
Well, you know what? That's a really great point. I'm glad that you said that out loud and in public, because that's the feeling I got, Dreadpool. I kind of felt like they didn't want to be there. I agree with you. If you've played a game too many times and it's just it doesn't excite you, maybe they should get someone else. And I agree. Clown, you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say, I'm kind of gonna paraphrase what the indie gamer chick has said on Twitter before, and she reviews games. She's in the industry. She is friends with people at Microsoft, PlayStation, everybody, Nintendo. And she even said, as a reviewer, that she doesn't want to hear the excuse of any reviewer claiming that they're unbiased, because every reviewer has a preference for a style of game. Some reviewers might like puzzle games more than open world games. Some reviewers might like platform games more than puzzle games. And she says it will always show in their reviews. For somebody that loves platformers usually get rated higher. So I mean, absolutely what Dreadpool said, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is this, again, I'm never going to turn around and, because someone doesn't like something I do, throw a temper tantrum and say it's media bias. But you have to call a spade a spade. And I understand, I saw Mighty Ryan in the chat. Big shout out to him, because he's always in the chat as well. He says something to the effect, well, the game has been in development for 5 years and it's mediocre. Well, you know what? I hear you. Again, if that's how you feel, I'm not going to challenge you on it. I'm not going to give you shit about it either. That's how you feel. You're absolutely entitled to it. But to be completely fair, there have been plenty of Sony titles that have been in development for years on end. I mean, at this point, we know that they come out, and yeah, they may not be everyone's bag. Like, for instance, The Order 1886. A lot of people give that game tons of shit. But guess what? It might have been mediocre to some. I absolutely loved that game from start. I loved it from start to finish. And that was in development hell for a long time. Crackdown 3. Listen, I think it's fair to say, if you're a Crackdown fan and you enjoyed 1, you thought 2 was ho-hum, which it was for many people, you're going to absolutely be beside yourself excited for Crackdown 3. If you're in the camp that you've never played it, the game, and it's just not your style, I understand that completely. But a game, just because a game has been in development for a long time, just because it's not your bag, if you will, doesn't make it a bad game. It's just not for you. So I understand that. I mean, first of all, big shout out to Mighty Ryan in the chat. Like I said, he's always in the chat. I appreciate him coming and hanging out. But you know what? I am really interested to get my hands on it. I am not in the preview program anymore because my system was nearly bricked with it. I know that some people will be able to start playing the multiplayer, and they will be able to stream it, which is great. Good on Ruffian Games for allowing that, and Microsoft saying, yeah, go ahead, stream it, do what you go crazy, because I want to watch some gameplay of that. But guys, I know, Clowns, you got to get out of here in about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Let's talk about a topic I want to get your opinion on. Halo Infinite is being developed by 343. No surprise there. But they did an interview at GameSpot of all places, is where I pulled this article. And they want to make sure that people don't get lost in the story. And, according to the article, the Halo franchise has a deep and rich narrative canvas. And we all know that, especially if you've been around since the OG Xbox and the first Halo game, Combat Evolved. It has a tremendous amount of really, really deep lore. And it tells amazing stories. I mean, some of even like the side stories in the universe are just amazing and they're so good they could be their own games. But while developing Halo Infinite, 343 is trying to strike the balance between providing enough depth story-wise for veteran fans like us, while also trying to be approachable for players coming into the Halo universe for the first time, or returning back to the Halo universe after some time away from it. Justin Roby, who was recently became the director of player voice for Halo Infinite, talked about 343's latest social stream. And this is what he had to say. I found it really interesting. Halo is one of those franchises where we have a lot of players who are probably going to come back when we release Halo Infinite. And we want to make sure that as it gets in there, that people aren't lost. Which is one of the things that people complained a lot about in Halo 5. And that is very true. I thought Halo 5's story was not my favorite, to be honest. And he goes on to say that people said, there's so many elements, I don't really know what's going on. Making sure there's enough meat and awesomeness for the fans at the same time, and also making it approachable is what is important to the team development Halo Infinite. Clowns, Roby's new new role as director of player voice, which I've never heard of before, to me says that 343 is taking the development of this really important title seriously. I think that this actually, in my opinion, being such a big Halo fan, is the Halo that needs to be a 10 out of 10. Not because I don't think it's going to be. I just think that 5, okay, you look at what Bungie did with the Halo series, right? They did 1, they did 2, they did 3, they did Reach, they did ODST. And everyone, when you talk about those titles, has nothing but gushing love for them. And for good reason. And then, of course, 343 is formed. They do Halo 4, which I thought was fantastic. I loved the story, loved the graphics, graphic overhaul. I thought Master Chief looked amazing. Everything I loved about that game. The multiplayer, not so much, but I did play a little bit of it. And then 5 comes out. The story, I'm going to be honest with you, not a big fan. Did not really like Locke and the position he was put in. Didn't like only using Master Chief only for like a quarter of the game. And I didn't find the story interesting. I thought the multiplayer, I thought Warzone was amazing. The multiplayer was its strong set, in my opinion. But Clowns, with this gentleman being a big part of Halo Infinite and the director of player voice, listening to the player feedback, do you think that really says a lot about how seriously they're taking Halo Infinite?
I think so, because the Halo fans are very passionate people. I mean, shout out to our friend Xbot. He's very passionate about Halo in the universe and studies it and learns everything about it and teaches everybody. And I think a lot of the Halo fans that are hardcore are like that, and they're probably emailing the studios or on the forums at 343, like giving feedback constantly. So I think putting somebody like Roby into that position is a very good idea. Because he's a front face for the community. He's very interactive with the community. He does his own mixer shows, and he's the type of person that will get feedback and give it back to 343 and Microsoft and see what he can do to make it happen. So I think it's a very positive move, and it shows that, again, once again, Microsoft, Xbox, and 343 is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that you got to remember, and Dreadpool, I'm going to get your opinion on this next. We have a few really good things going for us with Halo 6 or Halo Infinite, if you will. First of all, the Slipstream engine. It's the first new Halo that's going to have a new engine. I think that is a big deal. We know that it's going to be a little bit more open world-ish, if you will, from what we're hearing. I'm a big fan of that. I enjoy corridor shooters, but I think that as much as I don't want Halo Infinite to be Destiny, I still think that it can use some of the things that I really enjoyed about that game. I just want to see, first of all, I want the game to be all about Master Chief, and I think that was loud and clear. Dreadpool, in your opinion, hearing all of the, because again, this is not the first time we're talking about Halo Infinite on this particular show. We've talked about it, the Welsh Gamer and I, numerous times, even when So Shady has been on the show, and Salty as well. I found the time to talk about it because I like getting their opinions as well. Do you feel, as a Halo fan, it's important to have someone that is in tune with the community and has a good relationship with both Microsoft, 343, and the community, to be that kind of like middleman, if you will?
Without a doubt, they screwed it up on the Halo 5. They thought they had it. They took too big of a bite, and they screwed up. They were trying to mimic what they got with Halo 2, and try to get that star power that they got the last time. Like, we're gonna up Halo, and here we are with Halo 2. We're going on the new Xbox One system where we got the capabilities to do this and that, and they still screwed it up. And they have somebody like that to listen to us and to make sure that there's communication between everybody, that we're getting our Halo back.
Yes.
Whether it's a 6, whether it's Infinite, one of the best things we had was multiplayer modes, all the different variety of modes. It wasn't just Slayer. You're talking about a corridor shooter. Well, now it's not a corridor shooter. It's everything. You had a wide open corridor shooter. You had a wide open area, just defending cover. It wasn't we're going to sit here and do nothing. They did all this stuff, but they also screwed up. When they did this, they made 5 single, just a single screen. Where was the split screen? That's what we needed. How do you think I brought more friends in? I was like, hey, check this out. We're playing 4-screen co-op. We're playing 4-screen, competitive. Let's hook up more Xboxes. Let's get more people together. We got more people into Halo because of that. Now on 5, I can't get my wife to get into it because it's just me and she's watching. Or right. I give her the controller and I'm watching and I'm trying to tell her, no, go here, go here. You can't involve somebody into a game like that and try to lead them into it and bring them along and educate them with what's going on. If one of you are playing, you're too busy concentrating playing while she's just sitting there looking at her phone, when she would have before joined in. I mean, previous girlfriends, they've joined in and we're playing together. All right, go here, go there. Let's see what's going on. Okay, this is what's going to happen in the next corner, so I need you to be careful. None of that. We're playing all online. That's great, but we can't bring more people in. So to convince somebody else to buy something that they're not confident in ain't going to happen. And then the storyline, it wasn't all Master Chief. Right. And that's kind of what's, set it apart. Everybody's like, Locke killed it for me. And I know they were trying to go with the Arbiter route, but yet again, they took too big of a bite and screwed it up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on there. You know, when you say Halo, you think Master Chief, and I'm not saying that Locke was the worst character ever created, because he certainly was not. I mean, if you look what they did with Halo 2, where it was a shared experience where you got to play mostly Master Chief, but you got Arbiter in there, and I actually really enjoyed my time playing as him. He was a pinnacle character to the lore, and it was very interesting to see the perspective from from the Covenant. I thought that was very important. Whereas Locke, I think what hurt Halo 5, as much as I've complained about the advertising, is the way that they advertised this Locke versus Chief. The commercials were fantastic. They were extremely well done and elaborate, but they told a story that was different than what we got in the game. And I think that was what hurt it. Like I said, I finally beat Halo 5. I think it was early in 2018, if you could believe that. I mean, I wouldn't play through it again. Like I've played through Halo 1 through 4. My goodness, at least 5 and 6 times each one, because that's how much fun I have, especially when you start playing with multiplayer. But you know what? It was again. I like the direction they're going. I like that they're taking a more serious role in the Halo universe. I think that they understand how important. When you talk about a console, and I immediately think pillars. What holds this console up? And for Microsoft, one of those major pillars holding up the brand is the Halo franchise, and that cannot be denied how important it is now, and it will be an important part of Microsoft 10 years from now, regardless if it's a new Master Chief or not. But again, Clowns, I don't know how much more time do you have on the show before you got to bug out of here.
I probably got another maybe about 10 minutes.
Okay, so you know what, guys, let's move on to the next topic. And it's one I am never sorry to talk about, one I'm always happy to bring up. And that, of course, is Xbox Game Pass and the announcement of all the games that are coming in for February. Now, besides obviously Crackdown 3 on the 15th, we have a host of other games. And even though it's a little bit too late, Boom was right, because Shadow of the Tomb Raider is finally making its appearance into Xbox Game Pass. I called it months ago. I got a lot of S from the Crap Gamer who actually called me out and said, "Hey, Boom was right on." I think it was Xbox Nation, so good on him. Thank you for Crap Gamer for finally giving me my just due, if you will. And that's coming on February 7th. If you haven't played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I'm going to say this. It is a fantastic game from start to finish. Graphically, it is absolutely gorgeous on the X. It's something you should definitely play, especially if you have Game Pass. We have The Walking Dead, the complete first season, on February 7th. That was another, that was Game of the Year when it came out. Fantastic story to a company that no longer exists. So I think that's a big get for them. Pumped BMX Pro, a smaller title, but if you like the those games from Ubisoft with the motorcycle, I think you're gonna dig this. It looks interesting. The Blob is another smaller title, but it's interesting nonetheless. Again, if it's not for you, I understand. And they have something, obviously Crackdown on the 15th, but on the 21st, this is a big one in my opinion. And I want to get you guys' opinion on what's being added. Batman Return to Arkham. You're getting 2 games for the price of 1. It's that collection that comes with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And obviously they're enhanced on the Xbox One X. That is a big get. I think that is fantastic. Clowns, before you get on out of here, what were your takeaways on Xbox Game Pass for February 18? And is it amazing that with everything that they keep doing with this service, the games just keep getting better?
I want to say absolutely. I think, Xbox is really trying hard to make Game Pass a viable option, an affordable option, and a beneficial option to a lot of gamers out there that maybe can't afford to buy all these games. They're starting to bring in some bigger titles. And I think the Batman games are huge. I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider, man, that is pretty big for people too. Xbox is just killing it with this Game Pass, and it's growing and growing beyond belief. Journalists doubted this thing, and
Yes.
look how far it's gone, man. Look, this is amazing stuff that Xbox is doing.
Well, you know what? Real quick, I'm going to want to add to your point, but I have to say thank you to Rumble Foreskin for the additional $2 super chat. And he says, this show makes me hashtag moist. And all I can do is laugh, dude. Thank you so much for the support. That is pretty awesome of you. And I'm glad that you're digging the show. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I got into the YouTube scene only 15 months ago. I'm still a bit of a greenhorn, if you will. But the one thing that I go out of my way to do is to make sure that each and every show that I do is better than the last one. And some of the messages that I've gotten privately that have told me that it is constantly getting better is really great. I mean, we broke records today. We had almost 170 people watching live. For me, that is absolutely insane. Because if you guys remember when I started, I had 19 people in the chat. And I just want to say that I could not do this without you. You know, you guys constantly show up to each show that I do. I know that was a bit jarring at first. That, you know, I kind of really changed the direction of the show to be all live content. And I feel more at home live behind the mic. I hope that makes sense. Clowns, I just want to add to your point. You know, you're absolutely right. The media, more specifically, immediately poo-pooed Xbox Game Pass. And if we remember, you know, when Netflix first arrived on the scene, before it was the monster that it is now, it had a lot of growing pains. And the one thing I have to give Microsoft a tremendous amount of credit is that they did have some growing pains, but they turned the corner a heck of a lot faster than Netflix did. And, you know, when you look at the commercials for this, it says 100 games for $10 a month. But as you know, with this list, it's over 200 games, Clowns. And
Yeah.
I don't think that could be, you know, denied how important it is. Because, you know, I know the running joke with online is Boom buys everything. Sure, he's, you know, he has money all you know, hanging out of his ears. And that's not in fact the truth. You know, being a retired guy, it's only one pension check per month, so I have to kind of, you know, I don't have any other vices. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't go to titty bars or anything like that. I'm a homebody. I'm home with my wife. I'm happy just to watch movies, and I play games. That's my way out, if you will. So you know, I don't buy as much as I used to when I was working, because, you know, back in the days, I actually used to work overtime for games. I used to get a lot of shit at the precinct for that. But, you know, it's just, you know, I try to, you know, try to get the, you know, the big AAA stuff, and I use Game Pass for the smaller stuff. And there are a lot of people. I think DJ Singh, big fan of the show, big shout out to him. He said he didn't buy Tomb Raider. So guess what? If he has Game Pass, he's playing a AAA game, and I don't care how you slice it. But Dreadpool, I want to get your opinion on this, dude. You know, Game Pass, and I say this all the time, and I've gotten actually retweeted by not only Xbox, but by Mike Ybarra. I say that Game Pass is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the games just keep getting better and better and better. I think we're gonna be turning a corner next generation where you're gonna start seeing some big AA and possibly, you know, smaller AAA games work their way into here day and date. What are your takeaways on not only Game Pass as a whole, but what they've added for the month of February?
Game Pass? Woo! It's a number one. No, you know, it's funny, is that's what we kept on hearing. And Mooch and Crap even ate their words on that. They turned around and said, you know what? We've been saying this the whole time. We've been trying to give this away. Nobody's wanted this. Now we wish we would have kept it.
Yep.
You know, yeah. And that's a good point, because it is a good offer for everybody. It's a good deal. It's still pricey for some, but you know what? It's a lot cheaper than buying these games. The amount of games that we have, they're still advertising over 100. You know, and where are we at? 200 plus?
Yep. 200.
I didn't buy the Tomb Raider. I chose I'll wait. I'll opt out. I'll wait for a sale, and now I don't even have to worry about it. I already have Game Pass for the next couple of years. I'm good. The Blob. That's a game my daughter will probably like to play. You know, I don't have to buy that for her. It's in there. So there's a lot of opportunities for gamers to try out games that they wouldn't get. They wouldn't even purchase for anybody, you know. But come to find out, you try it out just to see what's going on because everybody's talking about it, and you actually might like the game. So yeah, Game Pass is a great investment. Even though you're renting the game, there's nothing wrong with it, you know. And everybody has their own opinion of it. You don't have to. No one's forcing you to it. I just myself would like to have some sort of double discount. You know, if you got Gold and Game Pass, give me a combo deal for that.
Yeah, I agree. Give me 20% off the game rather than the 10.
Yeah, but I'm getting AAA games now that I didn't have to pay for. I just got to hurry up and play them before they get out.
Yeah, you know, something like Tomb Raider, though, Dreadpool, I think it's going to be in there for a while. I mean, the other Tomb Raider games have been in there, so I don't see that running out. I mean, usually when they add a game, I want to say it lasts a couple of months, giving the players an opportunity to kind of plow through it.
Yep, and you got Doom, you got all these other games that are in there. You just have to wait long enough, is what it seems like. It seems like once they get their initial money and it starts slowing down, throw it in Game Pass. More people have the opportunity to play it, and they'll actually get some more revenue off of it. Is my thought process of what these developers are doing with Microsoft, and that's probably what Microsoft is also pushing on them. Look, you know, are you still making money off of this? Are you still making sales? Instead of putting it on sale, how about we put it in Game Pass and you get your cut? I think that's what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, we again, I don't think anyone that's outside of Microsoft kind of really knows what these backdoor deals are, but there's no doubt that that they're seeing more engagement with particular games and sales. I mean, Phil Spencer has said numerous times during interviews how surprised he was on how many people are not only playing more games because of Game Pass, but actually buying games from Game Pass. And I think that's a big deal. Real quick, Axel 1324 with the absolutely insane $5 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, between games with Gold and Game Pass, I may never buy another game again. Great show as always. Chat is fire. Yes, dude. Thank you so much for the super chat. The chat has been absolutely amazing. And Clowns, I don't know if you have another 2 minutes or so, but I do have the last topic. I kind of want to talk about it. Do you have a few more minutes, brother?
I could try. I probably got to leave in like 5 minutes.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll get this out there real quick. I'm not sure if anyone knows this. Playground Games, they kind of make a racing game called Forza Horizon. And that series seems to be just incredible. Again, this is not, I hope I didn't shock anybody. But recently, and I know UK Dashers is going to totally dig this, new achievements appeared for not Forza Horizon 4, but Forza Horizon 3. And I think that, and it's worth 500 gamer score. Now, look, I mean, I think there's no argument saying that Playground Games is one of Microsoft's best studios. But what's crazy is that a game that's that old is still getting updates, still getting support, and they added 500 gamer score. Clowns, before you get out of here, how awesome is this? And is it shocking to see that Playground Games is not only supporting Forza Horizon 4, and they're going to be working on that, until 5, but they're still supporting 3.
Yeah, I mean, that I'm shocked. I did not expect this at all. I mean, just to be able to play the game, pop it up, and achievements will pop, that's great, man. It gives people a reason to go back to Forza Horizon 3. I saw Maka's tweet, and he was saying that some people could just boot up the game, and these achievements will pop.
Yes.
That's amazing stuff, man, that they're doing things like this.
Yeah, I mean, let me again, if you got to go, brother, listen, I want to thank you real quick, for answering the boom signal. You are a boss. I cannot thank you enough, dude. And I'm going to be reaching out to you again in one of the future episodes of Breakfast with Boom, which is your mainstay. Thanks again for everything, clowns, and I don't want to hold you up anymore, brother.
All right, thanks, Boom. It was a pleasure being here.
All right. Well, and again, before you get out of here, you have a lot of stuff going on with Four Guys with Quarters. You have Four Guys with Quarters Presents. You have some big things happening there. Before you get out of here, tell everyone where they can follow you, find you, and more importantly, watch your work.
You can check us out, Four Guys with Quarters, pretty much everywhere now, even iHeartRadio. We air Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, we're going to have Rick on from Warhorse Studios to talk about Play Apex and some other stuff going on. And then we got 4GWQ Presents a Variant Podcast. I'm doing that with my buddy Maverick, a brother in blue. And we're talking about comics and pop culture. We just did the interview with Ruth Redmond from Marvel, who actually did coloring on Deadpool and Spider-Man.
Wow.
So we're editing the video and we're going to get that uploaded.
Nice, dude. Well, listen, everyone should get out there, sub his channel, check out Four Guys with Quarters and Four Guys with Quarters Presents. Those are some big gets, dude. Once again, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again, bro.
Thanks, Boom.
All right, and Dreadpool, before we get out of here, I'm going to give you a big shout out because you also swooped in to save the day. Kind of want to get your opinion on this. Playground games, obviously, when you think of them, you think of Forza Horizon 3, which is a modern day masterpiece for racers, and they seem to have outdone themselves with 4. But the fact that they're still supporting Forza Horizon 3 with achievements, it just really says a lot about the about the company itself. Now, in the story, they say that while the requirements for completing the achievements are quite steep, some of them, it seems that the requirements will work retroactively, which what Clowns was talking about with Maka, and he did his tweet. If you already hit these targets, you should get the achievement straight away as soon as the game is loaded up. And I think that in itself, I mean, is fantastic. That's we've seen it before that players are punished by not the achievements not being ready, and then you having to do something all over again. This really says a lot about the character of the company. Before we get out of here, what are your takes on them still supporting Forza Horizon 3, a game that's years old?
This is fanfare. This is developers that actually care. And it shows that it's not just Microsoft that cares. These developers actually care about their fans and their game. Because you got to remember, when they first came out with Horizon, everybody's like, who are these chumps? What is this? This isn't Forza. What is this? And then, oh, wow, this is actually not bad. And they've collectively, over time, progressively, made their games better and better to the point where they're actually competing against Forza, even though they're 2 different games, but they're the same game. Okay? So, and then to still support and come out with expansions, and to backtrack and go, hey, you know what? We got some achievements we can put out there and set it up. Did they forget to do that in the first place? Was there some sort of hold that they didn't do? We don't know, but it's great that it came out. Now that we're knowing about it, you boot up the game and hopefully you got some achievements. It's something to be proud of again. Oh, check this out. I did this. I don't know how long ago, but I did this.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Listen, any achievement's good achievement. I'm never going to get to 1 million like a good friend of the show, Randall Thorne 19, but I am closing in on 260,000. So that's a big deal for me. But Dreadpool, once again, dude, I want to thank you publicly. That you reached out to me. You were a complete star today. In the future, we got to get you back on either Breakfast with Boom or one of the other shows that I'm going to be doing. You really knocked it out of the park. Was this your first podcast, sir?
I gotta admit, You broke my virginity.
Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it live on the air. You really did knock it out of the park. You were a paraprofessional. You were always in the chat supporting everyone. And I cannot thank you enough for coming on today and hanging out for almost an hour and a half. I want to thank the chat. I want to thank Lethal Papa and, of course, UK Dazarus, the two sheriffs that keep this chat honest. I don't think they have a hard job simply because everyone in this chat just enjoys talking games. They leave all the political nonsense and the nastiness of the world at the door. So as a host who doesn't have to worry about the chat, because I do. You saw what happened last week when we had a guy come in that was not the nicest of people. I don't like shaming anyone or calling people out, but when you're going to go out of your way to disturb the chat, I guess it's the police officer and me wanting to defend the public. It's something I strive to do every day when I was in uniform, and I will defend my chat the same way because you guys show up here, and it is a great help that you're here supporting this channel. Dreadpool, I know you don't have a YouTube channel, but I know that you are on Twitter, obviously. Tell everyone where they could follow you on Twitter, man.
It's just Dreadpool on Twitter. Also on Xbox Live, it's Dreadpool. I've been doing this since Live started with beta testing.
Nice,
so
me too.
I've been on there, beta tested with them. I still have all my CDs that they sent me. Nothing's ever changed. That's all I got. I mean, I just play. I jump on all these podcasts and listen to everybody talk, and I had my own little opinions to say, and it's not always easy for when you're on the phone to get that little word out because everybody's already moved on to the next topic. So it's great to be able to speak my mind. Obviously I'm nervous first time, so just trying to get the bugs out, and hopefully I'll get an invite again and I'll be better.
Well, you know what, dude? First of all, like I said, you knocked it out of the park. You were a paraprofessional. I cannot thank you enough. You will be invited back in the future. Again, thank you to Clowns for stepping in. The Welsh Gamer will return next week at our regular scheduled 12 Eastern time show slot. Like I said, big shout out to him. He was listening while watching his son, so that's also very difficult to do. A big shout out to everyone who donated to the super chat. That is really, really awesome of you, and it's greatly appreciated. And of course, a big shout out to the chat in general for just being good, gamers and just hanging out and enjoying the show. I hope today's show was as fun as I thought it was. And I'll see everyone next week on the next episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Have a great day, everyone.